Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North, our top story tonight. The Chancellor gives her full backing to a plan to get Doncaster Sheffield Airport reopened.
We will work with Doncaster Council and the Mayor of South Yorkshire, Oliver Coppard, to support their efforts to recreate South Yorkshire Airport City as a thriving regional airport.
But the Chief Executive of the rival Leeds Bradford Airport hits out at the plans. We'll tell you why. Also tonight, a report into the death of a 5-year-old boy at Sheffield Children's Hospital finds multiple failings in the care he was given. Why Christmas has returned to Knaresborough with a Hollywood film star spotted in the town.
And I'm at the Junction 32 outlet where the toilets have just been declared the best in the whole country. No, I'm not yanking your chain.
Well, it was a lovely day up Nidderdale today. This was Brimham Rocks this afternoon. More sunshine tomorrow, but what about Friday and the weekend? Join me for that detailed forecast.
Hello there, thanks for your company tonight. There has been much talk of airports today, but the government has given its full backing to a plan to get Doncaster Sheffield Airport reopened. In a major speech about boosting the country's economic growth, the Chancellor of the Exchequer said she would support efforts to create a thriving regional airport. But the Chief Executive of rival Leeds Bradford Airport has today warned that DSA could become a financial black hole and wouldn't survive. Here's our business correspondent, Spencer Stokes.
Doncaster Sheffield Airport was closed by its owner, despite the overwhelming support for it to stay open. It now sits idle.
They're the words that politicians in South Yorkshire have waited 2.5 years to hear.
So I can announce today that we will work with Doncaster Council and the Mayor of South Yorkshire, Oliver Coppard, to support their efforts to recreate South Yorkshire Airport City as a thriving regional airport.
But it's not clear what that support will look like. South Yorkshire's Mayor hopes the speech opens the door to additional funding.
That's got to be the conversation now with the government. We can show you just how much this can make a difference to the growth trajectory of South Yorkshire. Now let's work together to make sure that we're getting that investment into Doncaster, into Gateway East and clearly into DSA to make this project thrive.
A light aircraft returned to DSA before Christmas, but a full reopening plan needs public funding because there's no agreement with a private sector investor. Instead, Doncaster Council has set up its own airport company, Fly Doncaster, that it's loaning £100 million to. That's raised concerns elsewhere in the industry, with the chief exec of Leeds Bradford Airport pulling no punches when he predicts what will happen.
The idea that Doncaster is going to be able to exceed its historical passenger number in any meaningful time frame and get anywhere near the level where it can fund the cost of its own operations is really, really hard to believe. Which means that all of this money, which is apparently being lent to Fly Doncaster and with an expectation that it will be paid back at some point in future, let's be clear, that money is never coming back. The business will never make a profit, and in a relatively short period of time, the airport will close again at the loss of all of the money that the City of Doncaster is putting into it.
So are you predicting that Doncaster will fail after it reopens?
I am predicting that DSA will fail. It's a big statement. I cannot see a scenario in which Doncaster Airport is able to generate sufficient passenger numbers to enable it to actually be self-sustaining.
But isn't the chief exec of a rival airport, Leeds Bradford, bound to say that?
I think it's fascinating that when you look at airports that are close to closing or have closed in the UK, we look at Cardiff Airport in Wales, Teesside is another great example. When these airports try to close, the government comes in with public funds to support them, but just keeps paying subsidy after subsidy after subsidy to keep them operational. They are all continuing to use government funds to keep themselves alive.
I've said from day one, I want to reopen DSA, but I've also said it's got to be a good use of taxpayers' money. We've got to be able to unlock the opportunities that exist. We've got the support of the government now, but I've got to make sure that that money is used well, and the government would want that as well.
The rebirth of Doncaster Sheffield Airport moves a step closer with government backing today, but there's concern from its Yorkshire neighbour about how public money is spent. Spencer Stokes, BBC Look North.
Certainly interesting arguments on both sides there. Let's speak now to our political editor, James Vincent, who is in Doncaster right now. James, how significant is the Chancellor's support when it comes to reopening this airport?
Well, it depends how significant you think of words coming from a politician. The word was support there. There were lots of words in the speech from Rachel Reeves today. We heard about transit and trams in West Yorkshire all the way through to the airport here in Doncaster. But the speechwriters never quite got to the pound sign key. They never put any money into it. They might have thought, actually, there's enough money going into it, because as Spencer said, £100 million of public money will go into this airport. The council failed to attract a private investor so far. They say that they're waiting in the wings, but they might have come along, had a look at the deal and thought, actually, we'll wait till the public money has been put into it before we come and operate the airport. That's the danger. And what Oliver Coppard's got to do now as mayor is look at the deal, look at what Doncaster Council wants to do and see if it's good value for money. We've seen examples of it not necessarily being good value for money, or it not working out as planned so far in places like Teesside. The mayor's office there bought the airport, and they bought that for 40 million from Peel, the same people that own Doncaster Sheffield Airport. It's running at a loss at the moment, but Manchester Airport has public ownership, some public ownership as well. So there are minuses and pluses of a public body taking over an airport. I think one of the reasons that we're not at the airport tonight is there's nothing to see there at the moment. It's closed, and it's been closed for that 2.5 years, as Spencer says. And whether it opens or not will be a big argument, none the least for climate campaigners and the net zero minister as well, Ed Miliband. He's got to look after the environment, but he's also a Doncaster MP and might be helping to open an airport.
James, thank you. Well, we're going to pick up on that. James talked there about climate campaigners. They're very unhappy about the Chancellor's support for the airport expansion. Protesters gathered outside Rachel Reeves' constituency office in Leeds today.
Their own scientific advisors have said for a long time now that there should be no airport expansion until there's proven technologies to reduce CO2. But she doesn't appear to be listening to the scientists. She's listening to the airline bosses, because they're the only ones who are going to benefit from this.
That's campaigner Ian Copeman there. We will, of course, keep following the story of Doncaster Sheffield Airport as it progresses. You are watching Wednesday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme. 5 years since the UK's first COVID case was detected in York, we hear from a young woman about the devastating impact it had on her and her family. But before that, an independent investigation into the death of a 5-year-old boy at Sheffield Children's Hospital has identified numerous failings in the care he received. Ayan Haroon, who had a rare genetic condition, died in 2023. A draft report shared with the family has either upheld or partially upheld more than 470 complaints, including delays to some treatments. The Trust has said it's committed to working with the family to learn from the reports. Our health correspondent Jamie Coulson has more.
He was the life of this family, and since he went, the life of this family is gone. You would hear him shouting, screaming from all parts of this house. And since he's left, it's silence.
Ayan Haroon died at Sheffield Children's Hospital 8 days after being admitted for breathing problems in March 2023. The 5-year-old had an extremely rare genetic condition called HACE1 and a history of respiratory illnesses. At the time of Ayan's death, his family said they felt badly let down by his care.
I wasn't listened to. I asked for the care that I knew he so desperately needed. That care was not provided throughout. And if I was to sum it up, I can only call it poor.
In total, Ayan's family has submitted more than 3,000 complaints into his care, of which 736 have been considered within the scope of an independent investigation. Now a draft report has upheld or partially upheld almost 2/3 of those complaints. It has identified numerous failings, including treatments that were delayed. It said Ayan should have been started on high-flow oxygen therapy earlier in the admission. It said the medical team on Ward 4 should have escalated his care to high dependency or intensive care earlier, and that there was a 4-hour delay in admitting Ayan to intensive care due to bed and staff capacity issues. But it concluded that although some changes may have marginally increased his chances of survival, they were ultimately unlikely to have changed the outcome.
Those are key issues in his care that were delayed, but yet this report says, based on the probability, the outcome would not have changed. How can they say that with any sort of conviction? But this isn't a report that we as a family can accept. This is a beautiful memorial Ayan sisters created for him.
The report also described bereavement care as poor, with cultural sensitivity that was substantially inadequate. In total, it has made 15 recommendations for improvement. Sheffield Children's Hospital has offered condolences to the family and says it is committed to working with them to learn from the draft report. The NHS in South Yorkshire says the family now has the opportunity to provide feedback before the final report is published.
I was the one who carried him for the first time when he entered this world, when he was born. And you imagine how I felt when I was the one to bury him.
The families say they have now lost faith in the process and are calling for a second investigation. Jamie Coulson, BBC Look North.
We're going to talk now about COVID. Can you believe that it's 5 years ago today the UK's first COVID case was detected in York? A Chinese student and his mother fell ill with the virus while staying at a hotel in the city. Well, the following 3 years saw 16,500 COVID deaths in Yorkshire and the Humber. Tonight, we're going to hear from a patient, a GP and a public health expert to get their perspective 5 years on. We start with the story of Mariam Zamia. She was just 18 when she fell ill with COVID. Her family was so worried they called an ambulance and she was taken to Bradford Royal Infirmary alone, not knowing whether she'd survive.
Hi, my name's Mariam and I'm going to speak about how me and my family were affected 5 years ago by COVID. I just wasn't sure what was going on with my body. All I know is I was feeling really cold. My family had to call an ambulance. That's when I got told I've got pneumonia around my lungs, which is why the airways are sort of constricted and I'm not being able to breathe. So I got put on a ventilator. It was really scary knowing that my body isn't being able to function on its own. All in the space of a few hours. I've now had another doctor walk into the room. She was a lovely lady and she held my hand and she told me that they're going to have to put me into a coma. At 18 years old, to be in the hospital on your own and being told you might be put into a coma, it was a lot to take in. And at first I said no, I'd rather just die, because I didn't think I was going to make it. I didn't think that I was going to survive, and all I asked for is to see my family one more time. During that COVID period at the BRI, everyone who was being admitted in with COVID was in the same side. My granddad also got admitted in. I didn't see him, unfortunately. I didn't get the chance to, the window was too high. But I knew he was in the room next door to mine. I knew he was so unwell and I just really wanted to see him, but I couldn't. And at the same time, my mum was also hospitalised and my door was slightly open, but I got a glimpse of my mum and that just really broke my heart, because I knew like, it wasn't just me, it was my granddad, it was my mum. It was all too much to take in. It was definitely a miracle. I'll always call it a miracle, and I'm ever so grateful to God that as I was being taken out of the room to the ICU ward to be put into a coma, I just remember the bed stopped and the doctors had turned round and just sort of shook their heads and said, no, she's 18, she's got no underlying health conditions. I just don't think we should. And I just had the ventilator on for about a week until my oxygen levels were getting back to normal and I was able to breathe better. I came home and my dad picked me up with my sister and I was just so happy to see them. The next morning My family sat down with me and decided to tell me that your granddad's not here no more. And they told me it'd been a few days since he'd passed away, but they didn't want to tell me whilst I was alone because they didn't want me to experience that grief on my own and not have anybody to sort of just have a shoulder to cry on, really. I'm very grateful because I gained a second chance at life, and I don't think I'd understand the value of life, of my life, if I didn't go through that experience.
Gosh, a very powerful and emotional recollection there of what happened to her. Let's hear now from two people who were on the medical front line. Dr. Ollie Hart is a GP in Sheffield. Louise Wallace is the Director of Public Health for North Yorkshire.
We're fielding a backlog of health problems, waiting lists that have built up, but also there's been a surge in problems with people's mental health. I think, that people say that social isolation is as bad as smoking. So it's almost like we gave everybody a 2-year smoking habit, and we're seeing the consequences of that now just playing out in people's mental health. It was like a collective period of trauma, really, wasn't it? And we're fielding that now.
It was the hope and the inspiration and the pulling together that I'll most remember. Remember the camaraderie, the people who helped each other, who went out and delivered things, collected food, and made sure that our neighbours and our communities were looked after. And I really hope that that spirit can continue and we learn from the pandemic, from that part of the experience.
Of course, we spoke to them both many times, didn't we, over those COVID lockdowns, and we'll be reflecting a bit further on the anniversary in the coming weeks. A man has been arrested in connection with the vandalism of memorials of 2 West Yorkshire police officers. Detectives arrested a 56-year-old man from Leeds on suspicion of intentionally causing a public nuisance. It's after black paint was sprayed over memorials to Sergeant John Speed and PC Ian Broadhurst. Police in Sheffield have explained the reasons behind an unusual chase involving a patrol car and a wheelchair. This is a video of the incident on Sunday which shows a woman evading a police car twice, and it's been seen more than 5 million times online. Police were following her after a report of shoplifting. The force says a 33-year-old woman admitted stealing goods and the case would be dealt with out of court. But she's not stopping there, is she? Now, do you remember this sound? It's from the TV series 24, which was a huge hit at the turn of the century. Can you believe it was that long ago? Well, now its star, the award-winning Kiefer Sutherland, has been spotted in Knaresborough this week. He's shooting a new Christmas movie, and the town has gone very festive to accommodate. We set the timer for Beth Parsons to find him. Beth.
Now, it has been an extremely exhilarating mission today. If you've been passing through Knaresborough, you may have wondered why there's so many Christmas decorations up. Well, we've heard reports that the Knaresborough Chamber of Commerce were contacted by a film production company recently and said, you know, your Christmas decorations, keep them up for a little bit longer. So I went in search of signs of something suspicious and I came across Cunningham Hall car park. Been taken over by film crews, and there I saw getting ready a group of Santas and asked them, what are you doing? And all they replied was Christmas. So we've been relying on the people of Knaresborough to get us the latest hot goss on this filming.
When we walked in over the bridge and we could see all the big lorries and things, and we walked along and we asked a couple of the security guards. One said it was a Christmas film. Someone else said it was something for Sky, and then we sat in a cafe and Googled, and somebody said Kiefer Sutherland has been seen in Leeds, so that he might be here.
Can you tell us what you've spotted today in Knaresborough then?
A lot of people dressed as Santa Claus, male, female, young and old.
Why do you think they're all here?
I don't know.
And 3, 2, 1, action.
We think they're doing a movie, a film here.
Oh.
Would you watch this film?
It depends.
If I'm on it, definitely.
Yeah. No, it depends what it's about. If it's a children's film, I probably will end up watching it. But yeah, see what it is. Yeah. Be interesting to see.
Oh, we're being told to shush. Quick, let's watch. Okay. And I can confirm we did stay to watch and have a look at this. Kiefer Sutherland officially filming in Knaresborough on the waterside. It's been very exciting. Knaresborough is a very exciting place to be, and we've got some other unconfirmed rumours. Dame Judi Dench, Derek Jacobi and the £10 million budget. Again, all of that very unconfirmed. Filming is continuing just down here. What I do know, the film doesn't have a title yet and it's due for release either this Christmas or next. Now, if you spot celebs out and about in Knaresborough, do let us know. I'm off celeb spotting. See you later. Sorry.
Watch out for Beth in the background. She's going to be getting herself an extra part, isn't she, at this rate? Well done, Beth. Thanks for that. Finally tonight, now this is the news I know you've all been stayed tuned for, the news you've all been waiting for. Where is the best public toilet in the UK? Well, the throne has gone to a retail park in Castleford, of all places. Shopping outlet Junction 32 won big at the Loo of the Year Awards, flushing away the competition. Tom Ingle has been to try it out.
When you've got to go, it's good to go in style. But in this Game of Thrones, there can only be one victor.
Well, we started this a couple of years ago and we got gold awarded, and then we went to Platinum Plus, and all of a sudden we're now Diamond and now national winners as well.
The judges were bowled over. The team here are flushed with success. So I asked Darren to show his WC to me.
We start with this one. We've got a baby change in here. We've got the extra things to give out free nappies if anybody caught short. We didn't bring anything like that at all. And a chair as well for the mum. Got disabled facilities as well. So that's in those ones. And just around here we have the gents area as well. It's full height doors, privacy.
Doesn't smell too bad either.
Well, no, it's okay. You know, it's all about the air conditioning we put in. We make sure we did the air extraction and things like that. We've got the low flush toilets.
So can you confirm how much investment you've put into your toilets?
In excess of 7 figures.
So you've definitely spent a penny?
I'm one or two more than that as well, yeah.
They're quite nice, the clean and everything.
What's the secret of a good loo for you?
Cleanliness. I haven't been in for a while, but they've definitely done them all up. They're excellent, yeah.
So your ablutions were top-notch?
Perfect. 10 out of 10.
From baby and mum, it's a bit of a privacy. At the same time, we change your baby, and at the same time, we can use the loo. So, yeah, it does work. It fits for the purpose.
It's easy to talk about squeezing the opposition and mopping up awards, but the outlet are on a serious mission to give shoppers lavs they can love, from facilities for people with stoma bags to breastfeeding mums.
It's working with other charity and other charitable partners to see where we can go next and really try and make sure that we're encompassing everybody who wants to use these toilets.
I prithee then salute these privies. This team won't rest on their thrones anytime soon. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Castleford.
Well, next time you need to spend a penny, wait until Castleford. I mean, it's been a quiet news day.
Tell you what, it's great for our regular viewers, isn't it? What a coup.
Oh,
Let's have a look at Filey this morning. Beautiful sunrise. You've got the whole beach to yourself. Absolutely fantastic. And the sun was definitely out near Wakefield as well. Almost a touch of spring there. So keep the pictures coming in. Tomorrow will be sunny with blue skies once more. So definitely some decent weather on the way. So let's have a look at the weather forecast if we can. I think we're having a few technical hitches, but there we are. That's Saturday's chart. We jumped to there. Saturday and Sunday look mostly fine, although Saturday we'll see some mist and some fog, which could be reluctant to clear. Now, the only weather system was down over the English Channel today. We've had 1 or 2 showers clipping into eastern side of North Yorkshire this afternoon, but the rest of us has been dry with some sunshine. If you've got cloud at the moment, it's soon going to clear away southwards, and then it's dry and clear with a widespread frost. Watch out for 1 or 2 icy patches, lows down to -2 Celsius. That's 28 degrees Fahrenheit. So tomorrow's high water times, let's have a look at those. We're still having technical problems, but here we are. Wait for it. Scarborough 4:40, Bridlington at 5 minutes past 5. A very straightforward forecast tomorrow. The only weather of note, perhaps a bit of cloud bringing the odd isolated shower into the Peak District, but the rest of us will be dry and bright with some long spells of sunshine, and we'll have temperatures close to the long-term average for the end of January, 7 Celsius That's 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Friday, much more cloud, the hint of some patchy rain for a time. And the weekend, February, can you believe it? It looks mostly fine. Fog an issue perhaps on Saturday. That's the forecast.
I'm hearing it's not technical problems, it's just Paul Hudson problems.
Oh, is it really?
Yes, apparently so.
Well, we'll agree to differ on that one.
That's it from us. Mark Anson with your late news. Bye-bye for now.